Will Jake Paul become a champion? Knuckleheads, this is a question that we have to start asking ourselves seriously subsequent to what was a very solid performance against a guy in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. who, despite all his drawbacks and problems with discipline and everything else, was a legitimate former middleweight champion in the sport of boxing and also the son of one of the greatest to ever do it in Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., right? Not only that, that's not the only reason for the consideration. Jake Paul is also now 12-1 in the sport of boxing. And even though people will try to discredit the names on his resume, I want you guys to pull open BoxRec and look at the names of the first 13 opponents of some of your favorite fighters. I would argue that they may be lesser than the people Jake Paul has on his resume. Finally, we got to start talking about and considering a title shot because Jake Paul is now officially ranked, at least from what I'm hearing, number 14 in the WBA's cruiserweight boxing rankings. The WBA, if you guys don't know, Knuckleheads, is one of the 4 major governing bodies in boxing. Zurdo Ramirez is, I believe, their champion. And they were even talking about him potentially fighting Zurdo at some point in the future, maybe even in his next fight. Now, if you're asking me, and I were advising Jake, I would say absolutely not. That's not a fight we want to have right now, right? But you look at cruiserweight, man, it is absolutely the perfect division for Jake Paul to win a title in when you really think about it, right? It's historically been a sort of glossed over division. It's historically been almost like a division where guys get really good just so they could eventually move up to heavyweight, right? Like Alexander Usyk did, like Evander Holyfield did, or Murat Gassiev, or any of these guys. It's almost like the AAA of heavyweight boxing, if you will. So I'm not trying to discount Jake Paul, right? But what I'm saying is, relatively speaking, that division is a great division for him to potentially win a championship in, right? It would probably be the best division for him to win a championship in, especially since it appears that his body type seems best fit for cruiserweight, right? I think bridgerweight or heavyweight would just be too much for him. He's not big enough, but he is big and solid and strong and athletic and everything else at the cruiserweight division. Now, again, I wouldn't want him to fight a guy like Zurdo, right? I think he's got just way too much experience right now on his side, and I don't think Jake Paul would win that fight, and certainly not against Jai Opetaia, who I think is the best cruiserweight overall. But at some point, I feel like Jai Opetaia is probably going to move up to heavyweight, like so many of these cruiserweights do. I believe Zurdo might move up as well, maybe to cash out. And then you're talking about 3 vacant cruiserweight titles, right? Because I believe Zurdo owns 2 of them. So now you're talking about 3 vacant cruiserweight titles for Jake Paul to potentially fight for. And I think if he takes a couple more fights in the interim, right, before that happens, before maybe Opetaia decides to move on and Zurdo decides to move on, I definitely think there'll be some fresh blood there at the top of the cruiserweight division. And Jake Paul can very well become the first YouTuber from Disneyland to step into the sport of boxing and dedicate himself and show you the power of the human mind and show you that you can make it happen if you want to and actually win a legitimate professional boxing title. Knuckleheads, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think Jake Paul will eventually win a boxing title? I got a feeling there's a very good chance. After you do that, hit the like button on this video, subscribe to this channel, and join this channel to help me continue to build FightersRep and drop daily content for you guys. Don't forget, we also go live after all the big fights. And we have a live podcast every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific. Feel free to also grab your FightersRep merch in the link below to help me continue to build. I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say about this, because when I saw he was ranked number 14 in WBA, I said to myself, sky's the limit, man. This guy's going to do what he set out to do.
Subscribe and join the Fighters Rep. It'll be the best thing you ever did. Knucklehead. Knucklehead.